Hey everyone. So I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about your mindset. And when I talk about that, I'm not talking about the typical, stress reduction, meditation, deep breathing. I'm talking about your mindset and your relationship with food. And when I started to change my relationship with food, that's when the true health changes in my life started to happen. And I'm hoping that today I can inspire all of you to think a little bit differently. As women, we tend to spend our lives thinking, oh, I want to be skinny, or oh, she has a great body, or oh, she doesn't look good in that, and very judgmental and thinking along the lines of fat skinny. And fat skinny is the opposite of the way that anybody should be thinking, whether your goal is to become more healthy, whether your goal is to lose more weight, whatever your goal is, that mentality is going to keep you stagnant, because in that kind of mentality, you have the ability to say, oh, well, I'm just going to have an off-track day today and I'll get back on track tomorrow. Or, well, I'm going on vacation, so I'm just going to put whatever I want into my body, and then when I get back, I'll lose that weight. And that kind of mentality is probably the most self-sabotaging thing that you can do, not only for your weight, but for your health in general. So when I'm talking about a healthy mindset, food is not good or bad. It is not a child. It doesn't have the ability to say, to make good choices or bad choices. You have the ability to make that choice. So rather than thinking about food as good or bad, it's more important that you're thinking of food as nourishing or nutrient void. And when you start to look at food that way, that's when your entire health and your weight to follow will change. So what I mean by that is, let's say that I pick up a Snickers bar and I decide that that's what I want to eat today. And then I start shaming myself and thinking, oh, I can't believe I ate that. I feel terrible. I'm going to maybe gain some weight, or I'm not going to lose weight, or I'm not going to meet I'm going to be above my points or above my calories or my macros, or whatever you've been doing for all this time to track and try and get on track. But what you should be looking at it as is, when you eat something, I have the chance to fuel my body, or I have the chance to take up space in my body with food that isn't really food. It's anti-food, and it's nutrient void. So what I like to say is that I eat with intention. And what I mean by that is, everything that I eat, there's a purpose behind it. I spend my, I take in my calories with the intention of doing good for my body. So yeah, of course, every once in a while, I like to enjoy treats and snacks too. But what I can do instead of eating that Snickers bar is maybe make some muffins and that freeze well and keep them in my freezer, and when I'm having a little bit of a craving, I can pull them out. But that muffin is going to be high in fiber, high in vitamins, high in minerals. It's going to help to fuel my body and provide it with proper nutrition, rather than empty calories that are harming my body and essentially keeping weight on and leading to conditions and pain and disease and all of the things that occur when we're constantly putting these nutrient void foods into our body. When we have chronic diseases, autoimmune diseases, diabetes, cancers, all of these can in some way, shape, or form be traced back to improper food choices. When we're not fueling our body properly and putting in the right vitamins, the right minerals, our body can't perform well. And when we have nutrient deficiencies, that's what's going to start to lead to these diseases. So people don't realize that when they're having, crazy hormonal shifts, that is essentially could be led back to, or could be traced back to, a lack of B vitamins and potentially some other nutrients as well. When we have these autoimmune diseases, we're often deficient in zinc and other essential minerals. So if we're fueling our body properly, we get those vitamins and minerals in. So what I'd like for you to start thinking about is, when you put food in your body, what good is it doing for you? What benefit are you getting from it? And if you're not getting a benefit from it, it's not that you're being bad. It's not that you have no willpower. Start thinking of it more along the lines of, okay, I had a slip up today and I ate that Snickers bar, so now I need to get right back on track with putting foods into my body that are going to fuel me properly. Don't let it become a landslide and say, oh, well, I already ate that Snickers bar today, so I may as well continue eating like crap for the rest of the day and get back on track tomorrow, and then, I'll get back with my weight loss goals or my health goals or whatever. Food does two things essentially, and I'm not saying this to be extreme, but every food that you eat is either benefiting you or harming you. When you eat those nutrient void foods, you're taking up that space in your belly that could be used for nutrition. You're putting a tremendous burden on your gut and your digestive system to have to process these chemicals and these things that are in that food that your body isn't meant to process. So when we start eating with intention, that's when good health follows. That's when you start to see that weight come off, and it happens pretty quickly and pretty easily. You'll start to see increases in energy, improvements in your skin. Everything kind of just falls in line when you start eating well. Of course, there can be other underlying factors, but I promise you that if you start to fix your nutrition, that's when you're going to start to see real sustainable changes. People, when I was pregnant, would say to me all the time, aren't you tired? You must be exhausted. You're, 35 weeks pregnant. And honestly, I never really was. And people also say, oh, you bounced back so quick. Oh, you look great. Or this, that, and the other thing after I had a baby. And those things aren't, they're not just, they don't just happen. I didn't bounce back quick. I took care of my diet along the way through my pregnancy and looked at it as everything that I ate as a chance for me to fuel my body properly and to provide my baby with proper nutrition, which is so fundamental to his health. So when we start to really change that relationship, that's when you're going to see that, you start to feel better. I don't have willpower. If I was relying strictly on willpower to do all of this, I would have failed a really long time ago, because I like that cake, I like that cookie just as much as you do. But what I rely on is something called my why power. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this so that I can feel better. And if your why power is weight, that's what you really need to adjust, because weight is a symptom that there is something else underlying. Maybe it's a hormonal issue. Maybe it's a metabolic syndrome. Maybe it's insulin resistance. All of those things are byproduct, or weight is a byproduct of one of those things. It's not just, I gain some weight sometimes and I don't gain weight other times, and I don't know why I gain weight because I think I'm eating healthy. It has to do with your relationship with food and what you're eating and what you're viewing that food that you're putting into your body as. So I really hope that this helped you. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me at any time. And I'm hoping that, through more videos like this, I can reach more women and help them to change that mindset and that mentality that so many of us have had for so long.